kitchen. I'm here. I'm gonna make challah bread. My sister Maria asked me to make it, and I'm gonna show her how because I haven't had time to make it with her in person. It's a good bread that my whole family likes, and I really like to make it because it's very easy to make. So bread can be kind of scary because you got the yeast and you don't want to kill the yeast. So what I do is I get a big package of yeast, and when it calls for 1 package of yeast, it's equivalent to 1 tablespoon of this big package. So this is just like the dry active yeast. Alright, and the other trick is, like, some people don't know these things, so they look at it and they don't even want to make it because they don't know the first step in how to make it. So the water temperature should be 100 degrees, which feels a little bit warm on your hands. So, you know, let the water run till it feels, you know, like warm, like a nice, like almost like a hot bath. Something that's not gonna burn you but feels nice and warm. Like a hot bath. Okay? So 1/2 cup of water. Alright, now we're just gonna go right into the eggs. 2 eggs. Right? You can let your kids crack these eggs in really easy, okay? It's a little different than making cake or cookies, just because you want to make sure that water temperature is right, because you're working with yeast that's alive. Okay, and this is a rich bread, so it's going to call for 2 egg yolks. Okay, get all that in there. Could, you know, break open the egg yolks, get it mixing a little bit. Okay, 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil. I like this handy dandy little vegetable oil thing. It makes it very easy to pour for quick cooking, and that's me. I like to make everything quick. Now they say it takes a long time to make bread, but yes, you need a window of time, but to actually throw it together it's pretty quick and easy. You just need time, like where you're gonna be home, to let it rise, to let it bake. Okay, so we got 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil, 3 tablespoons of sugar, and 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1 1/4 teaspoons of salt. You don't want to forget the salt. That's what makes the bread taste good. And the sugar's in there so that the yeast can eat on the sugar. Helps it rise higher. Okay. And then, you know, you got your little mixture here of liquids. Okay, so next you put in 3 cups of bread flour. If you don't have bread flour, you can use all-purpose. Bread flour has a higher gluten content, which makes it chewier. You get a nice chew to the bread. Also, when we knead it later, that'll make the difference in, you know, in the texture of the bread. Okay, so what I like to do is let this liquid, let the flour absorb the liquid. I'll let it sit for like maybe 10 minutes before I start kneading it. I just mix it together till it's, you know, combined. Then I'll let it sit for like 10 minutes and then start kneading it. But okay. This is easy. Okay, it's come together now. So this is gonna be the messy part. Kind of get it together. You want it to, you can knead it a little bit in the bowl first to get it to come to like a big dough ball. Okay, I let it sit for like 5-10 minutes so that it comes together easier. And just put the bowl to the side. Don't want to get my sleeve in it. Alright. Now you're going to be kneading this for, You know, you really want to knead it maybe 10 minutes, but I know, you know, like my sister, she's got a sore shoulder and stuff. This is hard. It's better to have a KitchenAid mixer, but I know my sister doesn't have one, so that's why I'm kneading it by hand, which anybody could do. Just knead it by hand. You might tire out, so just try to make it 5 minutes, okay? And you could stop, wait a little bit, and then knead it some more, you know, as much as your energy allows. Then you knead it, knead it, knead it. This, the more you knead, the more of the chew that I was talking about before, the more you'll have like a nice, you know, texture to your bread. And the gluten helps too. Now there is such a thing as over kneading the bread, you know, you don't want to be kneading it for 15-20 minutes constantly, you know. It might take you 15-20 minutes if you gotta rest, but really, you know, 5-10 minutes. Sometimes I don't even do it that long. And still, like, this bread is so easy, it comes out good, like, even when you mess up little things like that. Okay, so after you're done kneading, you're gonna return the dough back to the bowl. You can cover it with maybe like a wet cloth or plastic wrap, because you're not gonna put it into a hot oven. There's two different things you could do. If you have a proofing button, that would work. I have a proofing button on my stove. The other trick I have is, you know, if it's a cold day or if it's not warm in your house, because yeast needs 100 degrees to rise. It rises best at that temperature. So my trick is put your oven to as low as it would go, and a lot of ovens only go down to 200. Put it at 200 for 2-3 minutes just to get the oven hot. Not hot, like warm, like when you put your hand in, it's gonna feel warm. Put it in, turn off the oven, so it'll stay like, you know, between 100-200 degrees. That's fine. It'll be nice and warm, and it'll grow like that. So I'm putting this one in, but I already have one that's been expanding. You know, it really hasn't doubled in size. That's what I want it to do, and you'll see it'll really blow up when it's time. So I'm gonna give this a little more time, and then I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so I had time to get my dishes done, and now I'll check the bread again. I think by now it should have risen double its size. Okay, yeah, so this one is double its size. So this is one of the other parts I never understood before I learned how to be a bread maker. Is why do you let it rise and you gotta punch it down again? But it's just something with the yeast, the way it develops. It needs that time to have a first rise. And so you punch it down, and now this is fun about this bread. We are going to form it into like a braid. Okay, you might need a little flour on the surface so it doesn't stick. I'm gonna make these like snakes almost. So we'll divide it into 3. I just kind of eyeball it. Make 3 little balls of dough. Okay, so then what we do is make it into like a snake. So we work it down, work it out to like a long strand so we can braid it. Now you could do a 3 or a 4. I'm just gonna keep it easy and make a 3, just like braiding hair. 3-strand braid. You want to try to make it kind of uniform. It'll make a nicer end product, okay? So that's 1 snake. Make 3 of these. This is fun. Kids love to do this part. Okay, just making 2nd strand for the braid. mean, you know, you don't have to braid it. It's a little bit better braided, but you know, you could just form it into a regular loaf. Or put it in a loaf pan, that would work too. Alright, so what I do is I attach the three ends, kind of fold them in. Okay, attach it at the end, and just start braiding like I would braiding hair. Okay, I like to keep it kind of tighter, makes it prettier. Okay, so it's just like braiding hair. And at the end, I just kind of squeeze it together, tuck it under, just so it's a nice end. Okay, so there we go. That's our loaf of bread. I'm gonna put it on a greased pan. This is my oil thinning gun. I like my little oil bottle. Okay. Brush some of the egg whites from before when you separated the eggs. Just want to brush the egg white over it. This will make a nice shine after it's baked. I'll have a nice glossy shine. Nice crust to it. Not like a real crispy crust, because this is a more softer bread. It's a softer kind of bread. This will be really pretty after it's baked. Okay. Second rise, that's what's next. This next rise, you're going to put it back into the oven. Either way you do it, whether you have a proofing button or you can just warm up the oven again, maybe at 200 for 2 or 3 minutes, turn it off, put it into the warm oven. Now this time you just want to let it rise where you can see it's starting to bubble up a little bit. You don't want to double. You don't want it to double in size. You just want it to come up a little bit. And then you turn on your oven to about, I would put it at 400 degrees because when you start it real hot, it'll rise up better. 400, then maybe turn it down to 350 after 10 minutes. Keep letting it bake till you see it's going to get pretty brown on top. The only way I know that bread is done is I stick a meat thermometer in it. And you want it to be at 180 degrees in the middle. Then you know your bread's done. So if it's getting too brown before the middle's done, I would put some aluminum foil over it just to deflect some of that heat so it doesn't turn so brown. You don't want it to burn. So 300, you know, 400 maybe for 10 minutes, then 350 degrees for another 20-30 minutes. You know, just keep checking with the temperature. And I'll show you the end product once it's done baking. Okay, so I think it's time to check the bread. I checked it before and it was pretty dark on top and not cooked in the middle because I used my meat thermometer. I stuck it in and it was only like at 120 degrees, but the top was like really dark. So what I did was I covered it with foil and I'm letting it bake the rest of the way at 350, and I think it's about time to check it. So ooh, look at that. Okay, my foil off. It's pretty dark. This is a little darker than I'd like it to be, but let's check. Temperature is going up pretty fast. I think it's, yep, 180 degrees. So when we first put it in, it looked like that, and now it looks like this. So you have your beautiful bread that goes well with many, many meals. And it's good to bring if you're going to you know, if you're going to a dinner party or something, or for a holiday. So this is your challah bread.